Hi, I am Mayin, the co-founder for Artyz Southeast Asia. Welcome to our third webinar. In this session, we will be sharing an in-depth analysis on the consumer behavior for Singapore and Malaysia. This webinar specifically to share with you on knowing your customers' demands, understanding their spending power, the timings that they go online, and the economy of the countries. I hope that you will find this webinar extremely beneficial to you to decide whether you want to venture into these two countries. Let's start. Hereby, I am giving you the holistic view to the world's economic competitiveness. APAC is highlighted in red, and Singapore is ranked number 1, leading the world right now, while Malaysia is at the top 30. This is based on multiple factors as provided on the right. Hereby, I shall share the population and economy review for both Singapore and Malaysia. Malaysian population is much larger than Singapore, which is at 32.2 million versus Singapore at 5.83 million. Singapore, of course, they are small, but powerful due to their economic competitiveness. Their currency is strong, and most APAC offices are there, plus the foreign investors and a few APAC hub for few giant e-commerce tech companies such as Shopee, Grab, C Group, Meta, and TikTok. Malaysian population is 5 times larger than Singapore. However, they have a lower income per capita due to the currency strength, and there are a lot of rural areas which is not developed. Let's touch on the races a bit to understand the cultural differences between these two countries. Singapore consists of 76% Chinese, whereas Malaysia only have 25% Chinese, but majority population is 67% Malay. The age differences, Malaysia population is considerably young, and Singapore is struggling with aging population, as also half of Singapore is filled with expatriates or other nationalities. Moving on, here comes the interesting part, where we want to touch on the digital penetration and usages that will relate to your plan of how to reach out to your potential buyers. Mobile usage is high, which is not surprising, especially now is the pandemic and everyone is using mobile app to track where you are going. The population using internet, social media, and e-commerce are ranging from 78% to 84%. This shows that it has now become a part of their daily lives. The popular ones that they use are mostly Google, Meta, Instagram, TikTok, Lazada, Shopee, and probably Carousel. Hereby, we want to share with you the potential of e-commerce in Singapore and Malaysia. Both are growing at 30% plus, and it is expected that Malaysia total value of the consumer doubled Singapore as their population is higher. As for the spend, yes, you can see that Singapore has a higher spending power. Again, I reiterate that Singapore currency is 3 times higher than Malaysia, plus their income capita is higher as well. Overall, both countries are equally potential. People are becoming more adaptive by buying online. Therefore, you can see that e-commerce usage are not only confined to younger group, but across all age group. It is fall under within 70 to 80% range for both countries. This is probably due to the pandemic period, where COVID is the catalyst for online buying to surge. This slide will provide you good findings to determine what kind of products to sell to the region. Even though Malaysia and Singapore is a neighboring country, their priorities are very different. Singapore's spending pattern is more reflective of metropolitan adults or individual lifestyle, that they look into personal care, electronics, and fashion and beauty. Meanwhile, Malaysian spending pattern is more reflective of family-oriented priority. Hence, you can actually see top will be fashion and beauty, almost 3 times of Singapore, and high spending power in toys and hobbies and video games are more important due to the younger population and presence of children in the family. Which country that Singapore and Malaysia purchase the most from? Both equally spend a lot on China, where it comes overseas online spending, followed by US and South Korea. It is not surprising that China offers cheaper alternative products and have heavy presence in Lazada and Shopee. Of course, the new generation of Chinese, they are educated mainly in Chinese, are more open to the products due to the prominence of China media and contents. Besides that, Korea has been very aggressive in the last decade in Southeast Asia market. Their presence are very strong now, and the popularity of Korean products is mainly influenced by wildly popular Korean drama, movies, bands, and idols. This data is to show you that the sources of new brand discovery. Instead of just using search engine, Marketplace is at top #1 for Malaysia and top 3 for Singapore when it comes to build a presence for new brand. This proves that Marketplace presence has overtaken the role of advertising in creating awareness for new brand. Search engine and social media is highly influential as well. More importantly, the entrance cost for both is cheaper than TV or physical store point of sale advertising. It is also important to understand your customer where they do their research before they make their purchase. Singaporeans have this behavior of checking the product's information on their own first before going to social network. Meanwhile, Malaysian goes to social network first before checking out other official information or reviews. Top priority presence for brands will be Google search, reviews, which is from e-commerce and social media. In summary, we would like to highlight why we will choose to invest in Singapore and Malaysia. They are in Southeast Asia and still growing in terms of infrastructure, and Singapore is one of the best in the world. Both countries, they are ready for e-commerce market for you to venture into. They are dynamic, and pandemic has shifted the landscape and e-commerce tremendously. So, where do we start? We are introducing 2 top marketplaces in Singapore and Malaysia, and it is good to have your own brand.com as well. The pros of going into marketplace is where you want to test out your products, whether it is in demand, as they have already a huge pool of buyers, and it is very easy to set up. However, you need to consider the sales commissions, promotions, and ad costs. As for owning your web store, it is good for low awareness brand where consumer tends to check the legitimacy of the brand they aren't familiar with. Of course, another advantage will be saving costs where you don't need to pay commission and your marketing effort will be invested in Facebook ads, Google ads to direct into your e-store. That will increase the traffic. With that, you can collect customer data and more ways to do in future, such as membership tiers and discounts. Finally, it is vital for you to recognize the consumer differences between Singapore and Malaysia. We shared 4 considerations for you to decide on which market is relevant to your business model and products you have, which is market segment, consumer, racial differences to understand the cultural background and languages being used. And especially for religious sensitivity, if you target the Malay market, you may require a halal cert, especially selling F&B products. So what's next? If you want to learn more about Singapore and Malaysia, we have prepared in-depth paid webinars. So please do sign up with us. Thank you.